Hi everyone. So let's just continue on, okay, with this worksheet right over here, carbon cycle. We're just gonna continue on with part 2 since there was a 15-minute maximum, okay, for my screen capture video, okay. So I think I left off just by saying that you'll notice that there's only one way of taking the CO2 in. Okay, but there's several ways of putting the CO2 back into the atmosphere, okay, which is a real problem for global warming and carbon emissions, okay? That's why it's really important to have as many plants, green spaces, grasses as possible, just to offset the balance, or sorry, just to keep in balance the CO2 emissions over here, okay? So I know that this picture was a little bit, maybe a bit challenging to copy, okay, but I'm hoping that you were able to kind of follow along and see how the carbon gets cycled in its different forms throughout the carbon cycle. Okay, let's go on and do the back now. So everyone, please turn your papers. Okay, so in terms of disrupting the carbon cycle, what's happening right now with carbon emissions is that we've disrupted the natural carbon cycle where everything is in balance, okay? So let's just write down that the carbon going into the atmosphere, carbon in, is equal to the carbon going out of the atmosphere, okay? So we're talking about in the atmosphere. So carbon in is equal to the carbon out. Okay, so please copy that down. So what I mean here is that the carbon in the atmosphere is kind of balanced because the photosynthesis is drawing it out of the atmosphere, and then the cellular respiration and maybe any of the burning, natural burning of like forest fires and that sort of thing, that would be all in balance, okay? But due to human interference, this balance has been disrupted, okay? And what we're finding now is that there's too much carbon in our atmosphere, okay? So how is this happening? It's happening by clear cutting, okay? So let me just show you, clear cutting means, so please copy this down, cutting huge parts of forests, clear of trees, okay? Cutting huge parts of forests, clear of trees. Okay, so when I just Google clear-cut forests, take a look at this, okay? So what you'll notice is that every single tree is cut. There's nothing left or remaining, okay? And so this is very, very devastating, right, to the ecosystems. Sorry, I don't know why this isn't working. Oh gosh. Copy the image. I'm just going to post that over here, okay? Cutting huge parts of the forest, clear of trees, okay? Please copy that down, and I'm just going to put a little picture of this. Okay, and then the other thing that's a problem is burning fossil fuels. Okay, so too many fossil fuels. So when we're burning fossil fuels, this means burning. Okay, and then if you remember, there were several fossil fuels, a few of them. Okay, what is the solid fossil fuel? Does anyone remember that? Solid fossil fuels. Okay, that is coal. There's also petroleum or oil, and then there's also natural gas. Okay, so when we burn fossil fuels, and we burn them with our cars and trucks and factories. Okay, so please copy that down as well. This is a huge problem because what's going on is we're cutting the forests down. The forests and plants are what will actually draw the carbon out of the atmosphere, and to even make this situation worse, we're also burning fossil fuels at a rate that is unprecedented. That means we're burning more fossil fuels than ever before. We're running more cars and trucks and factories than ever before. So we're pumping all this CO2 back into the atmosphere, but we're also destroying nature, which is the only part of the process that can draw the CO2 out naturally. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So this means that the balance of carbon going in and carbon going out of the atmosphere is really imbalanced right now, okay? And that's why we talk about global climate change, and you hear about that in the media quite a bit, okay? Okay, and here's just a picture of some fossil fuels being burned, right? In a lot of processes for manufacturing, we burn fossil fuels in order to make them work, okay? And make them run. Okay, so this one was quite a long note. Stay with me, okay, everyone? Just a few more blanks, and then you can watch some more carbon cycle videos to end off the period, okay? So, what consequences, as I mentioned, what consequences do clear cutting and burning fossil fuels have? Well, CO2 is a type of greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gas. Okay, greenhouse gas. And it means that it is really good at trapping heat. Okay, please copy those down. It's really good at trapping heat. Okay, so let me just describe what a greenhouse gas does. Okay, it's really good at trapping heat. So if anyone has ever been in a greenhouse before, you'll notice that it gets very, very hot and humid because the glass allows the sun's rays to come in and heat up the greenhouse, and then what happens is that the heat gets trapped by the glass. So you'll notice that even though the rays are going in, the rays are not bouncing out, let's just say, or reflecting out all the way through the glass because they're actually getting trapped. So the heat just gets trapped and it bounces around and gets captured, okay? It's almost like, so when we talk about the greenhouse effect on the Earth and the idea of greenhouse gases, these greenhouse gases act as a greenhouse. It's almost as though the gases that accumulate on top of in the atmosphere, they act almost like a blanket to trap the heat inside the Earth's atmosphere. So the sun's rays come in, and then what happens is that when it hits these greenhouse gases like CO2, carbon dioxide, which we're burning fossil fuels, blah, 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 and it's creating almost like a blanket of atmosphere that traps all the heat. The heat just bounces around off of the atmosphere, and it gets trapped so that the Earth cannot cool itself down as effectively. Okay, this is what causes the disruption. Okay, and this is the greenhouse effect. Okay, so the key thing is that we do need carbon dioxide, CO2 in the air. Okay, so without CO2 in the atmosphere, the Earth would not be warm enough to support life. Okay, so for example, on the moon it's very cold because the moon has no atmosphere. So we need some atmosphere. This is the reason why there is life on Earth, because we do have an atmosphere. Okay, and it's enough to support life. Unfortunately, if there's too much CO2, carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, this makes the planet too warm. Okay, or too hot, whatever. And it contributes to global warming. Global warming. Okay? Okay, so everyone, there's not going to be a quizzes today. I'm hoping that you just copy down all these notes. I'm thinking that the diagram especially took a little bit longer, okay? I'm hoping it's okay. Please review your notes for a few moments, and then I'm going to ask the supply teacher just to play some more videos on the carbon cycle, okay? Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a good afternoon, and take care, and I'm going to see you on Wednesday. Okay, bye.